Well, hello. Welcome to a quick look at Trove. Trove is an absolutely wonderful digital resource database, part of Australia's National Library, and it has billions of items. A very widespread range of categories are stored here, and it's completely free to access, research, copy, whatever you need to do. And it doesn't matter if you're in Australia or anywhere in the world, as long as you've got internet access, you can access Australia's Trove. There's no limits on it. Now, let me introduce myself. My name is Ian Loxton, and I've been on Trove since 2016. And at the moment, I'm getting up in the list of number of lines corrected. I'll never catch the leaders. The current number one leader is about 8 million lines corrected. That's quite a fair way. So let's go back in and have a quick look on Trove. And today I'm quite interested in what we find in Women's Weekly. Women's Weekly was a magazine that's been coming around in Australia for decades. So let's just have a very quick, you just put in the entry what you're looking for, and here we go. The Complete Stake Book, which was produced in 1968. But Women's Weekly's been going since 33 up until 82. I mean, it's still going, but we've got copies here up until 82. So there's a pretty fair... Oh, look, here we go. Here's the original document, the Complete Stake Book from the test kitchen. And so what's over here, this is how the, let's say, optical character recognition, which is OCR, the computer reads and it's looking for letters and it tries to create the best it can from what it can see. So already you can see why we might need to make some changes. I've logged in. Anyone can log in. You can create an account. It's free. So now you choose to fix or review the text. Well, we've got a problem here that is, it's forgotten how to spell weekly. So that's fixed that up. And it's the stake book from, well, it's somehow picking up a character. Let's just get rid of that. And what we do with that after that is we've got to save that and exit from this page. Now, those changes will be locked in within about 5 minutes. That'll be locked into the database. And the next person to have a look at the page will find it simply says Women's Weekly. There are probably other things to have a look at. Oh yes, there's some. So you go to continue onto the next page. And down here, it's showing you, and you can actually navigate this way through different pages of the stake book. How's that? And make changes where it's needed. In most cases, you'll find it's doing fine. Most of that text is fine. Pretty straightforward. Uh-oh. Well, what about here? That doesn't look right. So somehow, and what I'm doing is I'm matching this to this. Even if they've got an error on here, then you make that same spelling error on here. All right? This is a, let's see, an accurate reflection of what's over here. All right? That's what you've got. So let's just exit that. We don't need to be there. But in newspapers and gazettes, we can go back a long time. quite a long time. Let's have a look at some of the earliest South Australian, because I'm South Australian. And here's the first one comes up. Was it 1839? I don't know if there's anything more current than 1839. So there we go, Adelaide Chronicle. But look, it's also got Lithuanian and only from when they started in 1948. There's their first issue. And if you can speak the language, you can read it and make corrections to it. All right? Let's just go back a little bit. And you've got the government gazettes. And if you're trying to find earliest gazettes, their first gazette that they've got is from 1832. The Government Gazette, Government Notice. There we go. Way back to 1832, which is a fair way back, and a lot of information. So again, here's the original. Here's the text from it. All right. Let's have a look at some other things. What are these tiles down the bottom? Well, this one's for the article. Turns the article off. That's very easily done. This is an interesting one if you need to cite it, as in if you're doing research or you're maybe in a school or tertiary institution and you need to put a reference to it. Well, it starts off, here's the article identifier for it and the page identifier if you want to on this page. If you follow the APA, many higher institutions, higher learning institutions will use APA standard. This is standard version number 6. It is not version number 7. There are differences. For starters, number 7 doesn't show the date of retrieval. In many cases, you can still put it in. So there's your citation. MLA. Some follow the Harvard system. Wikipedia, if you're putting reference, or if you're using one of these citation collection apps, it'll generate one of those as well. So it's a very useful tab. Having a tag on it is very useful. These tags are searchable as well as the document. So let's say they had, oh look, Alexander Maclay. Now you see, in those days, up to about 1850s or so, for someone that was a Mac, they'd put an apostrophe in there. Well, of course, you're not going to type M apostrophe lay, because you'll just say Maclay, and it won't find it. But if you create a tag, every time you see something like that, if you create a tag that shows up Maclay, it will come on search. So now, if someone types in, I want to know about Alexander Maclay, this will be one of the elements that are brought up for the search element. All right? It's a good trick. So, if the word's wrong, or, spelling mistakes are common enough in particularly the earlier newspapers, but also the most recent ones. They seem to have forgotten how to spell. So creating a tag is a very good thing to do. It can also appear, this is for lists, And you've got lists, Sydney, the Government Gazette, and things like that. Myself, I've got 3 lists running, one for my family tree, one for a cousin's family, and stories about the Overland Telegraph. Now, one of the things I've done is made all of my lists available to the public. Anyone can research on there because I don't know who's going to be looking for it and they might find the information useful. So creating a list keeps a record of the pages that you've added into your researching, so you can always go back to it. Now let me just go over here and show you what I mean in lists. And there's my public lists, 30 items, 270 items, 3 items on the Overland Telegraph. And there we go. There are the articles, 3 that I've tagged, where it's mentioned for the Overland Telegraph. Why the Overland Telegraph? 2 of my forebears worked on the Overland Telegraph. One of them worked right through to Darwin to put the Overland Telegraph through. So it's of interest to me. But let's go back on to explore Trove. Trove's got some great videos to take you through how to learn about it, collection features, to browse, to explore, new stuff in different languages. Talking about new stuff, for some reason they've got the Manila, a newspaper produced during the Japanese occupation. So let's, for example, you're researching the Pacific War in World War II. The occupation, of course, is focused on Tokyo. And it's got a great deal of information showing the Japanese version of some of the major battles and similar activities taking place. As I say, Trove is such an amazing resource and it's freely open to everybody in the world. I hope you've enjoyed the quick look that we've got on Trove. There is just so much more. To find it, you can go to Trove, Trove, .nla.gov.au. So that's trove.nla.gov.au, and that would bring you into the page, and away you go. Enjoy. Have fun. Bye now.